Hi guys, welcome back to your Not So Ordinary Scrapbook channel. I've had to restart this video a couple times already because I don't know if you guys get this way, but like, it's rainy out, it's kind of gloomy out, and I'm not feeling today at all. I don't know why. My desk is a mess. First of all, I found my refills. So that's good. I found my good scissors. So that's good. No, I have not cleaned up my office. But I just happened upon them when I was looking for something else, as what normally happens when you're looking for something else. And those don't belong here. I need to hang those up. This doesn't belong here. Let me get a little bit more organized, and then I can start working in here a little bit. I hate these kind of days where I feel like I'm having an outer body experience, or like I'm not really here, but I'm here, and I don't know. I spent some time in my mindfulness journal this morning, like journaling my thoughts on some things and like trying to get refocused on what I need to do. And sometimes that's effective, sometimes it's not very effective. It kind of depends on my mindset, and my mindset hasn't been the best lately. I'm trying to have a good mindset. It's just and nothing's really happened in particular to make me feel like this way. I don't know why I feel this way. It's kind of ridiculous that I feel this way. But I'm one of these people where the weather kind of affects my mood, and like if it's gloomy out, then I generally feel gloomy, and if it's nice out and sunny out, then I generally feel happy. I don't know why. I've been that way my whole life. I'm highly affected by the seasons too, I think. I'm one of those people that really gets the winter blues. And it's summertime now, so I shouldn't be feeling this way, but it's one of those things that I have to deal with. I was just thinking about this today too, like how I don't think that like my doctor is like managing my anxiety, or whether it's depression. I'm not sure if it's depression. I mean, I have good reason to be depressed in certain areas of my life. I don't think that would be, an unusual way for me to feel. But there are times that I seriously feel like giving up, and I know that I don't want to give up, but there are times when I really feel that way, like this really strong pull to just like be done with it all. And for no reason, just other than, what's this? Oh, my diploma. And I have I have all these reasons to look forward to my life. And there's no reason for me to feel like my life is over. But yet sometimes I feel like I just am so tired. Like, I'm so tired of everything. I was journaling about my dad this morning because the prompt in my mindfulness journal was like a Father's Day prompt, and to like journal about your dad, and I was journaling about him, and as I was journaling about him, I was thinking, like, so much of my life when I was growing up, I felt like he wasn't there, like he wasn't present, and like mom like led everything. And during certain times of my life, I was wondering, like, was he even there? Like, was he working all the time? Because he owned his own business, and he was a deputy sheriff. So he had a full-time job, plus he owned his own business. So, like, he wasn't home a lot at night. But then when I was reflecting back, I realized how much he was there. And how much I guess I didn't realize that he was there. And, because I could remember, whoops, I keep bumping my camera. I could remember all these times that he was there. And then it got me thinking, like, looking back, I wonder if his life turned out the way he wanted it to. Like, is this, like, now that he's older, and now that he's listed as disabled, and sorry, the dogs are going nuts. They've been going nuts periodically for the past week, and I'm not exactly sure what is up their butts, but they just have been. They've been difficult. I had that magazine out for a reason. Our dogs bark at everything, anything, nothing. They just bark for no reason. Every noise, every car that goes by. If the cat crosses their path, I'm not exactly sure why. They're just very annoying, yipping dogs. Especially when I'm not in a good mood. I have more patience when I'm in a better mood. And it's not that I'm in a bad mood. I'm just feeling non-productive. It's like this funk that I've been in for a while. But anyways, getting back to my dad. I wondered, like, when he reflects back on his life, if he accomplished all the things that he wanted to accomplish when he was younger. Or if he really wanted to do all the things that my mom made him do. It's just, it's a weird concept to think about, because sometimes I think I'm going to do this double page spread today, or I'm going to attempt to do it. something similar, because I said that I was going to go through and do all of these, but, and I'm still working on the same page kit. So I'm going to have to find something that has similar background pages, or one way that I use two different papers together is I'll cut them in half and then I'll attach them, you know, so they coordinate with one another. But when I look back at my life, I look back at my mom still micromanages. She has always been the type that has always run things. I mean, my dad did all the labor intensive things, but it seems like my mom made all of the decisions when I was growing up. And I never wanted to be that kind of a wife or mother, or, you know, that did that. Because I lived with that for so long, with my mom being that way. And I think that happens a lot of the time, is that, like, the woman in the relationship, she kind of like takes this domineering role. I don't know what just fell. And not that I'm like, I think that women in general, and I know for myself, that sometimes I've felt like I've had to take like the domineering role, just because I never did when I was married to Joe, which is really weird because he was just very domineering on his own. So like, he took control of our life, like, from the very beginning. He just, you know, I don't remember ever making or having to make any decisions. I think that when you have a man who just handles things like on his own, and like, and or maybe I'm just not that type of a woman that does that. I know in a lot of respects with Scott, I've had to, just because I've been forced to, because he, for whatever reason, he's never been the type of man that like stood up for me in any way, shape, or form. Like, if there was a guy bothering me, or, you know, not that I get guys bothering me, but like when I was younger, like if a guy was bothering me at a bar or whatever, he would have never come to my rescue. He would have just, you know, I think back to like one of our friends, her husband, she's not married to him anymore. They got divorced a long time ago, but when Ethan was a baby, and we had gone to this picnic together, and I never particularly liked this woman's husband anyway. I always thought that he was kind of a jerk. He didn't treat her very well, and he didn't treat their kids very well. But we had gone to this like community picnic in McLean, which is a small town not far from here. And he and Ethan was a baby, and I had him sitting in the high chair, and Scott was getting our food, and this guy, his wife, was getting their food, their family's food. And Ethan was kicking under the table, like, you know, little kids do. I mean, it was perfectly normal for his age to be doing what he was doing. And I don't know why this feels short. Unless I cut it crooked. I don't think I did. It's close. Ethan was kicking under the table like little kids do. It was just like he was hungry, he was waiting for his food. He was like a year old. I don't think he was much older than a year old. And for some reason, this guy got triggered. And he like grabbed my child's leg really hard. And he screamed in his face and he said, "Stop it." And Scott saw it. I mean, Scott saw him do it. And I was mortified because we would have never done that to our child. Not in a million years would we have ever done anything like that. And I mean, he was so loud that people were looking at us. And I think that a lot of people thought that he was the child's father just because of the way that he reacted. That he thought he was Ethan's father. But he wasn't. I mean, they weren't even that close of friends with us. And he just, for whatever reason, he was triggered by Ethan kicking. But Scott didn't do anything about it. Like, not a darn thing. And I asked him later that night, I said, "Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you talk to him about it or whatever?" And Scott's like, "Because it wouldn't have went over well. I knew it would have started a fight." And he's like, "I wasn't prepared to get in a fight in a public place or whatever." And for whatever reason, I mean, I guess I understood. But it still kind of like bothered me because this was our child, and like this guy basically got away with it. He got away with like behaving that way toward our child. And that's just kind of how I always felt like in our relationship, he always like put other people ahead of me. Like if his mom and dad ever needed anything, you know, he would put my needs last. Or like if it was our friends, he would make fun of me. Like he would say things about me in front of them to make them laugh at me. And like, and I just was like, you know, you're really kind of a jerk in a different way. I mean, not like the way that this other guy was. Like, he wasn't mean or abusive or anything, but I mean, in a way, he was kind of like, I always felt like, I don't know, but I've always been kind of like this weird, meek creature. I feel like I've never been like this very strong person that could like, maybe I just don't have much of a backbone to stand up for myself. But I think that just comes from you know, all the things that I've been through in my life. But so I wonder, you know, I'm so different from my mom. And my sister takes after my mom. My sister Jenny is very much like my mom. She very much runs her household. And runs a show around there. And sometimes I think of Dan and I think, you know, are you happy? Are you happy with the way your life's turned out? You know, are you happy with being led? You know, just kind of following along, because when I think about it, I'm not really all that happy. From feeling like I've been I almost feel like I've been controlled, or like, I'm not exactly sure. It's just, I don't know. So I was thinking about my dad, you know, because I was journaling about him. And I was thinking, you know, did you do all the things that you wanted to do when you were young? You know, when our house burnt down when I was in the 1st grade, did you really want to build a house out in the country? You know, was that your dream? Was it your dream to have all those animals that we had? Was it your dream to have to work so hard? You know? And then I think about, like, even now, like, you know, did you really want to move to Missouri to be by Aunt and Uncle Ray? Or did you want to buy the house at Keithley Beach? Did you want to buy the house where they are now on Lake Heavenly? I mean, are you happy? It just, because in so many ways I wonder, I know my dad never, I don't know that I think everybody suffers from depression in some extent. I don't think that the older I get, the more I realize how things, you know, affect us, you know, and maybe it's, you know, maybe it's COVID, maybe it's, you know, partially related to COVID. I know COVID's mostly over. But maybe it's even like, you know, some of the decisions that the government's making, maybe it's the high prices that we're forced to pay. Maybe it's just all the pressures of trying to live up to, like, this, what we think, like, life is supposed to look like, you know? Like, are we doing this to compete with other people? Are we doing what we do to show people that we've made it? Or are we actually happy? You know, are we happy in our circumstances? Are we happy in our financial state? Are we happy where we live? Are we happy with the people that we surround ourselves with? Are we happy in our jobs? I mean, all these things, you know, I wonder about. I wonder about, like, you know, I look at my dad. My dad's, right now, he's in a rehab facility. Well, it's a nursing home, but, like, he's recovering from the last botched surgery that he just had. But, I wonder sometimes, I'm like, is this what you thought life was going to be like? You know? You know, because you can have all the money in the world and still be miserable. And still feel like you wonder. I'm sure that, like, my parents wonder. My parents are, you know, they have everything they'll ever need. I'm sure that they probably won't ever move from Keithley, or from where they live right now on Lake Heavenly, you know, because everything is paid for. But I wonder, you know, my dad's not able to enjoy it right now. Like, he, you know, it's just, he worked so many years in the electrical field, you know, with his electrical business, crawling under houses and wiring houses and all these things. which caused his bad back. And then he had the back surgery, and like his life has been altered forever because of it. And it's like, it makes me think about, like, is what we do going to affect the rest of our lives? Is that what we want? I don't know. Maybe I just think too much. But I think it's important to reflect on stuff like this, because it's like, it helps us like reconfigure the decisions that we make in life. Whatever those decisions may be. And some of these decisions are really hard. For me especially. I mean, I still don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I think part of the reason is that I've been conditioned to forgive others. And I always want to be that person who gives, you know, as many chances that are needed. And I have a really difficult time giving up on people. Even when they've showed me that they're no good for me. I don't know why I can't just, like, be done with it. Just be like, this is not good for you, move on. You know? But I think a big part of it is fear. Fear of the unknown. I have such a tremendous fear of the unknown. And I find that I self-sabotage myself because of that. I do things to self-sabotage myself. And I think it's a protective mechanism that I use because I'm afraid. I don't know if I want to use sunshine and happiness, or I really like that. This matches really nicely though. I'm not going to use a circle quite as big as this one. And they have it tucked under, but I think I'm going to use it tucked over. And then I think I'm going to use this like little strip of camera paper maybe up here for this banner, like underneath it. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do here. But we'll see how this works out. So I'm going to cut this circle out. So, I don't know. I don't mean to sound all doom and gloomy. It's because nothing has really happened to make it like, to make me all like sad, or except for the rainy weather. But I know when I get like this, all I want to do is sleep, which is just like so ridiculous. Like yesterday, when I get like this, like yesterday, I kind of felt like this too. Probably not as emotionally extreme as I am right now, which but I get this way when like I notice patterns, and then my mind like wanders at like, I don't know, and it shouldn't matter, like but it does matter. It matters to me, but I know that like Scott still lives with us, and I mean, I told him he could, this is his house too, so I mean, I told him until he could, you know, find a place of his own or whatever, he could stay here. But like, I don't think that he has any intentions of leaving. And like yesterday, I had to call him because my battery died when I was at rehab. The latch on the back of the Navigator must have popped open again, because when I got out to my vehicle after rehab, my battery was dead, and I had to call him to come jump my car, you know, and that's fine, and he did, but you know, so I'm glad that he's around, like, to help with things like that. But then in a way, I feel like he still does stuff that, like, you know, he's been talking to a therapist like every week that he insists that is helping, but and he doesn't want to leave. Like, he doesn't want our marriage to end. He doesn't want, you know, he's told me all this stuff. But yet, like, when he comes home from work, he stays up like super, super late. I mean, I noticed these things. He stays up like, you know, super late, and he and I check on Facebook, like, to see, or Messenger, to see if he's on Messenger or on Facebook, to see if he's active, because I wonder, like, who's he talking to? What's he doing? You know, for one thing, he said that he deleted Facebook. So it's like, if he deleted Facebook, how come he's still on there all the time? It shows up that he's on there all the time, even when he's at work. I mean, it's not like a continual thing that's always on there, but I mean, but I mean, there again, he hasn't always been honest with me. Or maybe he figures like it doesn't matter anymore or whatever, but I don't know. But he, like, this one's taller than this one. I think I'm gonna have to cut that off, like 2 rows. That. But like, he's always up really late, and always like on his phone, and always and like his last therapy session, he said like his therapist like had to cut it super short, you know. And it's like, are you even talking to her anymore? Like, is he even being truthful? And I don't even know why I dwell on this. My friend Michelle said I shouldn't even be paying attention to anything that he does. But it just bugs me. Like this morning, he lied for the dogs. Lied for the dogs. Why would someone do that? Why would you lie for your dogs? Like, I go into the kitchen and he is in the mudroom, and I know he's in the mudroom, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, nothing. And I said, did the dogs poop? Are you cleaning up poop? He's like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, it sounds like you're cleaning up dog poop. Oh, no, I'm not cleaning up dog poop. And he's like, no, they're fine. They're fine. So I'm like, whatever. So then so then I go in there because I need to start a load of laundry, and there's poop on the floor. Like, there's still like remnants of someone who cleaned up dog poop on the floor, but didn't do a good job. And I said, and I just said to him, I'm like, you didn't do a very good job when you were cleaning up the dog poop this morning. And he came in there and he just looked at me and he's like, well, that's dried. And I'm like, you don't leave it on the floor even if it's dried. You don't leave dog poop on the floor. Like, I don't understand. And I said, I thought the dogs didn't poop. And he's like, he just like walked away. Like, and I'm like, who lies for the freaking dogs? Why do I care that you were cleaning up dog poop? It's just so weird. Unless he was doing something else while I was cleaning up dog poop. I don't know. I just wonder sometimes if life is just supposed to be like this, if it's not supposed to be happy, like if it's just supposed to be like, I don't know. I think I just need to get out of this house. I think that that's part of my problem, is that I spend too much time at home, and I need to get out and around other people. I cut off this to-do. This has like a journaling strip here, and then it's got 2 flags here. So I'm going to put another one of those, and then I don't know if I have another piece of that, but I think I see another a scrap of something else that I could use there. So I'm not even sure what pictures I'm going to use right now. So I don't know why I wallow the way that I do about things. I just don't want to get to the end of my life and like regret, like have all these regrets of things that I didn't do, you know, or that I made the wrong choice, or that I didn't stand up for myself. Because I think that would probably be worse than anything, is to realize at the end of your life that you that you're dissatisfied with the choices that you made. I feel like so much of my life I've made decisions based upon what I felt other people would want me to do. And I'm so tired of like trying to meet everybody else's expectations. You know? I mean, I'm an adult. I should be able to make choices for myself. I shouldn't have to listen to what other people have to say or what they want me to do. Because so much of my life, I feel like I have made decisions based on what my family wanted me to do, based on what my parents wanted me to do, based on what my friends thought that I should do. And I feel like I haven't made many of my own choices on my own. And when that happens, you feel like I just don't want to get to the end of my life and think, well, when is it my turn to make a choice? When is it my turn to have a turn to, like, decide something? Why is it everybody else that gets to make choices and I can't? I just feel like so much of my life is just going with the flow. You know? And people depend on that. Like that, oh, Amy always goes with the flow. She always is very accepting. I mean, I know my family knows this, and I know that they depend upon that because they tell me that all the time. My mom tells me that all the time. She's always like, I always feel like whenever you come to visit that I never have to be something that I'm not, or I never have to like plan all these things, or I never have to like make sure that I entertain you because you're so easygoing. You're so, she says, she never feels like she's like on edge or like that she has to plan all these things for me because I'm just very accepting. But then sometimes when that happens, you get the short end of the stick too. When people know that you're ultra accepting of things, you know, people are always like, or my family anyways, they're always like, well, Amy will understand. Amy will understand, you know, because I'm so ultra understanding and so ultra forgiving that, but just because I'm understanding doesn't mean that things don't hurt me, you know, because you still want to be included in things. You still want to feel special. I mean, and I think a lot of people do that to me. You know, they're just like, well, Amy will understand, so just like, and sometimes I wish I wasn't so understanding. Because the times in my life where I've been forced to like break friendships or you know, and I don't get ugly about breaking friendships. Like when Katie and I, you know, like when I ended our friendship, it was necessary for me to end my friendship with her, and it hurt. It hurt what she did to me, and it hurt to end our friendship, but she wasn't good for me, and I knew she wasn't good for me. And what she did to me was so underhanded and so horrible. You know, you love your kids and you love your grandchildren. And when someone tries to mess with your life and like interfere and create drama, it's just, it's not right. And I know that, like, with her, I just blocked her on everything. I just deleted her, blocked her, never communicated with her again. And I know my friend Michelle, she was like, when they came to visit, she was like, I know Katie's going to want to know, like, reasons why she's not invited to the graduation party, or why, you know, should I tell her the truth? And I told her, I said, yes, tell her the truth. I said, you know, I said, just because I'm not talking to her doesn't mean that you cannot still be friends with her. You can still be friends with her. I just can't. She's like the only person on earth where I would seriously turn around if I saw her in a public place. I would walk the opposite direction and ignore her. And I'm not that type of person. I never do that. But and Michelle said she knows that Katie knows what she did to me, because when she explained it to her, like, she did talk to her, and she didn't even, like, Katie didn't even, like, make any excuses. She knew what she did. But I think that people get away with stuff. Like, so much stuff that I would never dream of ever even trying to get away with. I think that people do. They just, like, they know how to work the system. They know how to make it work for them. And I guess I'm ignorant in that way, because I've never learned how to do that. I need to put a piece of paper here so it, like, matches up. Well, they have a picture. They have this coming off of a picture. So I guess I could just, like, cover this up with a picture there. But there is, like, this seems to go all the way across on this page. And it matches up with this one. But I don't think I'm going to do that. And then they have, like, a darker piece of cardstock that, like, goes over top. But I don't think I'm going to do that either. I think I'm just going to put a picture here. And then a picture here. Like this too on this page. And then 3 here. But I've got to find pictures that are going to work for that. I mean, I have all these wedding pictures of Angie's wedding. I could do a page like that. That's Angie's wedding. That's Angie's wedding. This was, I was 9 months pregnant with Hunter in this picture, and Matt's rubbing my feet at the, he doesn't look like he's too happy about it either. He's rubbing my feet at the reception because my feet were all swollen. You can see how much edema I had. Gosh. crazy. Here's the wedding. So that's 3. I need 5. Let's see if I have 2 more in here of the wedding. So I'm trying not to be like, well, I guess I'm not trying very hard to be a Debbie Downer. I guess some days you just gotta let the tears out. I've really got to take these out. Hunter looks just like, this is Scott's dad's twin brother, Jim. He lives in Florida. Hunter looks exactly like him to a T. It's crazy how much Hunter looks like him. It's insane. I think I'm gonna just separate all of these. And this is Scott when he was just born. He was a newborn. This is when his dad was the mayor of McLean. They were building the library. Another one. I want to give those to his mom so she has them. Or maybe I'll just stick them in a small album for her, because she doesn't scrapbook. But, or she doesn't even put things in photo albums, so if I put them in a photo album for her, she might like that. I mean, I know she is disappointed in Scott too. I mean, I know that she is. She doesn't tell me that. She doesn't say that she is, but she has to be. She has to be disappointed in him. I mean, I don't see how a parent couldn't be disappointed. Considering that, you know, you have grandchildren. You know, it's not just affecting me or our marriage, it's affecting the whole family. It's just, I don't know. I think she's, but maybe not. I mean, maybe she's feeling like, this isn't, that I'm making a bigger deal of this than it is. That it's not a big deal. Since this is something that, like, he grew up with. So, I mean, she may very well feel like, that Scott hasn't done anything wrong. Or maybe she feels that she's been hurt enough times from her husband that, there's 4, that, there's 5. Is that 5? Here's another one. 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 Okay, I have more than enough wedding pictures. Is there any other ones? I mean, it's just really hard telling, like, where her mindset is. For one thing, her husband has passed away. Like, he passed away in 2007. and her, I don't know if he's her boyfriend or not, but it seems like he's her boyfriend. His wife just passed away this past year in 2022, the beginning of 2022. And so, like, they go out to dinner and they, they do things. But see, they have been doing this for, like, long before his wife had an MS. And so they've been doing this long before she passed away. And they were like a group of friends, like when my father-in-law was alive. They were a group of friends that hung out together. So it wouldn't be surprising if they, like, I could do these zoo pictures though too. I never thought of that. I don't know. Okay, I need to make a decision. This is the zoo. I have several of these zoo pictures from Nashville Zoo. Tons. Another one. Another one. Another one. It's not Nashville Zoo. That's the zoo in Springfield. Okay, so I think because I've got cameras and flowers and stuff like that, I mean, do I want to do these wedding ones? They're already divorced, so I don't know. And he's remarried, and she is in a serious relationship with some guy. They've been divorced for about a year, I think. So I see her probably remarrying in the near future. So I don't know why I should even scrapbook these, other than the fact that I was in the wedding. I don't know if I should do. Here's some smaller ones. I wonder if I should, like, cut Matt a photo with that. I think that might work. I think I'm going to do the zoo. I think that will work better. I think these are going to go on the other page because they're vertical. This is the vertical one. This is the horizontal one. I can do me and the voice here. We had gone to the Nashville Zoo because we were staying in Kentucky with Scott's cousins and aunt and uncle. And Joe, Matt's dad, lived in Alabama, and Nashville is closer to him than when we generally than Illinois, of course. And so he met us. Joe met us at Nashville Zoo, and we gave Matt to him for the week because we're going to be in Kentucky. And then or we brought Matt to him for the week, and then we went to the zoo with, like, the little kids. And then we went back up to where his cousins live, and Round Hill, Kentucky. Which is near Bowling Green. Oh, I could use the back of that. Oh well. I think that the stripe's probably much better. But we used to do that a lot with Joe, like when Matt was younger. We would meet like in Carbondale. We would meet in Jerome, or is it Jerome? No, Girard, Illinois. Or we'd always meet halfway anyway. He never usually came all the way up here unless he was on his way to Wisconsin, and he would pick up Matt on the way and take Matt with him, and then he would that's my joy boy. Hunter was always, that kid was always smiling. Always. I don't think that I've ever seen a kid that smiled as much as Hunter did. He just was the happiest little boy you ever met in your life. Just constant joy. That's why it's so hard to watch him go through what he's going through with his daughter, because, or if she is his daughter. Because, you know, for that being his first relationship ever, it's just, wow, so much trauma for like such a young guy to have to go through. It's just, it seems unfair. It just, you know, especially by a woman who is older and experienced and should know better, you know. So the thing is I don't really remember all too much about this. I mean, I remember meeting Joe and like dropping, and him like dropping Matt, like meeting him at the entrance of the Nashville Zoo, and like, and then us taking the little kids to the zoo afterward. But I don't really remember too much more about that trip. Okay, so this page is going to be I think I want to put this one like up top because it says Nashville Zoo. I don't know if you guys can see this. There. Maybe a little bit better. I don't think I'm going to mat this one. I don't think it's necessary to mat all your photos. Some people would disagree with me. It definitely does make your pictures pop when you do mat them. But a part of me feels like it's kind of a waste of paper sometimes. I don't know. There's that. And then this one I'm going to cut. I'm going to trim. So I'm going to put this one here. Hunter was just so happy to do whatever. Like, it didn't matter what we did. He just had this excitement about him that none of my other kids had. Like, he just, I guess that's why I always called him my joy boy. Because, like, we could just be going to the grocery store or going to the doctor's office, and he just was just so excited and so, it was just like, and he never asked for anything. He wasn't one of these kids that was like, oh, can we get this after? Or can we do this? Or can we, he never wanted for anything. It was just like, it was just, he's just such an incredible human being. I hope he gets a chance to instill this into that little girl, if he is her dad, because just such a blessing to our lives. And I know, he's a blessing to Jordan's life too, and to, her kids' lives. But I also see a tiredness behind his eyes now too, that wasn't there before all of this started going on, and before he had to deal with like so many adult responsibilities, because he was really thrown into it. I mean, like, I don't think he'd have it any other way, because he really cares about Jordan, and he really cares about the kids. But being foster parents is huge responsibility. What is that? Oh, it's a tiger. No, that's a hyena. Okay, so I'm gonna put this hyena here, I think, and I'm gonna cut it, crop it. There's just this tiredness behind his eyes, almost a sadness. And part of it, I'm sure it has to do with Esmeralda, but I think just being responsible for so many people, at such a young age, to only be 20 years old and still, like, responsible for an 8-year-old that, has a disability, and a 5-month-old that is a foster child, and, his worrying about, like, whether Esmeralda is his or not still, and dealing with, like, the stress that I know he feels, the stress of, like, Scott's and my relationship, what's going on with us, and it's, let me put that there. I mean, I know that he feels like all of this, like, and I'm sure that it's a tremendous amount of pressure, and Hunter is the type of person that does not, he is so much like me, in a way that, like, we both, like, hold our emotions in until it's like they just start pouring out. Like, he's the same way as me, I am. And I know that, like, he's got to be near his breaking point, because, like, he just takes everything in stride. He's so much like, he's so patient with people, and he tries to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna use some of these little, like, zoo things, even though this is a hyena, there isn't a lion there, but it's just cute because they're little kids and they're at the zoo. And I don't even think I need to put zoo, like a trip to the zoo or anything, as a title, because it's got the name Nashville Zoo there. Or should I put, like, maybe I'll put like this there. And there's a camera, which is super cute because it goes with all of this, the camera stuff. I feel like I should put a label there. Like, maybe like that, just to kind of like journal. like I said, I don't really remember too much of this other than we were visiting his family. And we just, because we had to go to Nashville to meet Joe, we decided we might as well go to the zoo too, you know, while we're there. That was really the only reason why we went to the zoo. Plus, I think at the time we had a zoo membership. I think this was the time, this is about the age of the kids when we had a museum, we had a children's museum and zoo pass, which was like for all the zoos in the United States and all the children's museums in the United States. And you pay like one yearly fee, and then you could get into all these places. And I think that this was one of the zoos that we're like, oh, we have to go to Nashville anyways, and we have the zoo pass, so we might as well use it. I'm pretty sure that that was it. But we definitely use that a lot. I would highly recommend something like that for parents of young children. I don't know how much it costs now, but it was a pretty incredible experience for our kids. I know that we went to St. Louis, went to Decatur, we went to Chicago. We went to all the zoos in Chicago, in Brookfield, and then there's another one in Chicago. Went to the Children's Museum in Chicago at Navy Pier. We went to the Children's Museum in St. Louis. The Magic House was part of it. So much. It was just so much fun, especially for kids this age where, you know, they just love that kind of stuff. Use it. Should I put something down here? Like maybe I'll put this little line down here. There. And I'll do like a checklist maybe. I don't know. I kind of like this I love you too. Like if I were to put that like right. And look at how cute Ethan was. Oh my gosh. He had like white hair. He was so blonde. He's wearing his little Carhartt overalls. Oh, I miss these days when they were so little. I just wish that I was thinner then, because I would have like I weighed more there than I do now, probably by a good 40 pounds. But I would have been like, I just wish that I would have like paid closer attention to my health back then. But I was so consumed with being a mom and like, you know, taking care of all the things that I needed to do that I let myself go. You know, I just put myself on the back burner. And I think that happens a lot with women. I mean, it could happen with men too, I suppose, but I think it happens more so with women, is we get so consumed with our children, raising our children, that we put ourselves last. And we forget that we're important too. And then we get to be my age, and then we realize that we should have taken better care of ourselves because our health has suffered. And then you deal with all these things like, you know, all these health problems because you didn't take care of yourself. And it's so much harder to get the weight off the older you get. It's just, I know I struggle. Like so much in that area. Okay, do I want to put like, I'm just going to put fun, I think, across here. Or fun day or something like that. Maybe just fun is okay. After this video, I have stuff I gotta do. Cleaning I gotta do. I have this list of like things that need to be tackled, you know, that are not like big projects, but there's stuff like that you put off doing because it's like, I don't know why I put off doing stuff like this, but like, okay, so there has been like, for some reason, where the deep freeze is, like there were, like over the years, like grime has like built up like on the floor, like in front of like probably where the edge of the deep freeze met the floor. You know, because I've mopped in there, but like it just builds up on the edge, you know, I guess. I mean, for me anyway. But somehow the deep freeze got moved back a little bit, and so now it's like you can see it like big time. And I need to take like one of those small little brushes and like make like a paste of like baking soda and vinegar and something that will like scrub that up. I mean, it's just grime that needs to be cleaned up, but I've been putting it off because but every time I go in there to get like meat or something out of the freezer or vegetables out of the freezer, I see it and it bugs me because I'm like, that needs to be cleaned up, you know? Or like the dryer, if you don't wipe off your dryer like once a month or whatever, then, you know, that lint, like, it kind of collects on the top of your dryer or dust or whatever, and like laundry detergent inadvertently sometimes spills on the top of the dryer and doesn't get cleaned up properly, and like it just, that needs to be wiped down. And you know, these things take like 2 minutes to do. It's not like it's gonna take me all day to do this stuff, but it's just do it. So that's like on my planner to do today, and I'm not going to bed today until I do that, or tonight until I do that. And I'm forbidding myself to take another nap because yesterday was ridiculous. I came home from rehab. We ran up to Bloomington because I told this lady that I would buy this jumperoo from her, and we needed to run by the bank and pay July mortgage anyway. So we did that. We paid the mortgage. We ran by and we picked up that jumperoo, and then we came home, and then all of a sudden I was dog tired. Like I was falling asleep, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna lay down for like an hour, and I fell asleep for 3 hours. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not need to sleep for 3 hours, because then I had to get up and I had to work for 5 more hours. And so like, I didn't even end up eating dinner last night. And I guess I had some popcorn because I decided like I needed to go in the living room. I was like, you got to do something, you know, after I was done with work, I was like, I need to do something. So I decided, well, I'll watch Mamma Mia, which is like one of my favorite summer movies to watch. So like I asked Ethan to help me put it in the Xbox because I still am like technology challenged when it comes to like using the Xbox for a DVD player. So I stuck the DVD in and got some, I guess I had Boom Chicka Pop for dinner. I had like a bowl of Boom Chicka Pop. And then, and I made a smoothie, a peanut butter smoothie with, chocolate protein powder. But that's what I had for dinner. So, and it was like at 7 o'clock, I think. But, and then I didn't like, I really didn't do anything after that. When the movie was done, I was like ready for bed, you know, and I was tired. Like, I was tired enough to go to bed. It's just weird. But I think it's because I've just been feeling so sad and like down in the dumps. Okay, so what should I put here? Put fun on the other page, and you know, the kids used to call animals aminals. Maybe I'll put like crazy aminals. Just because that's something that they used to say. Sometimes I forget, like, some of the funny things that they used to say. Like, Matt used to call McDonald's Nick Donald's. He'd always want to go to Nick Donald's. I think he thought that Nick Donald's, that was like the name of a guy or something. I don't know. My brother used to call macaroni and cheese Aki cheese. I still remember that. But I forget, like, all the funny little words that they used to use for stuff. Ethan was just, he would say things that made sense, but they were just like, it was so interesting. I wrote some down somewhere. I have them in a little notebook because I was keeping track of them because they were just so, they were so cool. Just like some of the things he would say to describe an item. It just was so interesting and so unique because no one ever did that, that I knew of. He would say the words right, but he would but Ethan didn't talk. Like, he did not like speak clearly until he was about 4. Most people did not understand what he had to say until he was about 4 years old. But then he would say stuff that just would crack me up. Like, okay, for instance, one I can remember is like, instead of a toothbrush, he called it a cavity brush. Or he would call things like, oh, I don't know if I can think of another one that he used that was just so interesting. Oh, like, okay, so like instead of a knife, you know, like a utensil, a knife, he would call it a butter spreader. or like a pencil was like a writer. He would call it a writer. It was just very cute. I think that's kind of cute, like crazy animals, because he's like in the bamboo, and he kind of looks like a little zoo animal. Crazy animals. Okay, so for journaling on this, what am I gonna write? The kids thought this was really cool. These are this was like an area that was like, Nashville Zoo did something that was quite unique in the way that they like separated their animals. Like this section here was like, had all the animals that were like in the Lion King. So like this is like a hyena, but like over here, and they weren't that far away from each other. I mean, they were in their own area, but it was like the animals that were in the Lion King were all in close proximity to each other. So like these were not warthogs. What was the other one? What was Timon? Whatever Timon was. This is this, and you could go in this tunnel. You could crawl there. They had a tunnel, and you could crawl under there, and then you could like, this was all glass or plexiglass or whatever, and you could go up inside of it, and you could look at the what kind of animal is that? Pumbaa was a warthog. Timon was I forget what he was. I can't think of what he was. Meerkat? Was he a meerkat? I think he was a meerkat. Okay, so maybe I'll journal off camera, because then I can look up for sure. I think he was a meerkat, so I'll just put like the Lion King thing here. I highly recommend the zoo. I have to say that of all the zoos that we visited, St. Louis Zoo, the two in Chicago, Nashville, I'm not sure what other ones that we went to, Springfield Zoo, all of those zoos, Nashville was by far the cleanest. It was the cleanest, and it was like, it was kept pristine. Like I can't even tell you, like even like the areas that the animals lived was just very well taken care of, and very like they had areas to roam. Like as you can see, this hyena in this picture, like it was in his own habitat, and I really liked that about that zoo. And like this, the meerkats were like in a similar habitat to in which that they lived. And I thought that that was really very cool that they did that, you know, so the animals didn't feel like they were caged, or, you know, I thought that they took that into mind when they designed the zoo. And I think that that's important when you have a zoo, that it is, you know, that the animals are treated humanely, and that they're in their own habitat, you know, so they're protected. Because some zoos, like zoos when I was a little kid that I remember going to, where animals were in cages, it just, when I think about that, it really bothers me, because that was so cruel to keep animals that way. And like, even, I know when I was homeschooling the younger, well, when Hunter and Ethan were younger, and even Matt, I guess Matt was probably a young teenager, and I was homeschooling him, and we did the study on whales, on the great white shark, and on killer whales. That's what it was, killer whales. And we watched all these documentaries on SeaWorld and how inhumanely these killer whales were treated. And it kind of gave me a really sick feeling in my stomach, because I was like, I can remember as a kid going to SeaWorld, and now I see those places a lot differently than I do now. That when they're kept in captivity, I mean, these are wild animals that should be free. But, and just keeping animals in captivity, it kind of made me think differently about animals being kept in captivity. Just because, you know, they're basically kept in captivity for our entertainment, and that just seems wrong. I don't know. I mean, that's just how I kind of feel about it. But I mean, it's enjoyable to get to see these animals, but I guess I have mixed feelings, you know, with it. But anyways, let me show you. I'm not, like I said, I'm going to journal off camera. So let me show you like how close this is to the original layout. So this is, let me see if I can back this up so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so that's that. It's a double page spread. So it's similar. It's similar to this fish one, I think, that they did in this magazine, in this drawing. So that's the one that I did. It's got the long strip. It's got fish over here. It's got flags here. It's got a round cutout, and I just used this round thing there. It's a little bit smaller. I didn't put the title here like they did. I could still put something there, but I don't think it's necessary, because I have this big picture that has the zoo there. So really the title is just kind of off to the side more. So it's in a similar area, but and I don't think it has to be the same. They have subtitle here. I'm not going to do that over here, where this journaling portion is on my layout. I'm just going to list like some of the animals that I remember seeing. I don't really remember, because it was so long ago, how many, like, what animals we saw. But I do remember we ate at, they had this really neat McDonald's that was in Nashville at the zoo, and it was the most unique McDonald's that I had ever eaten at, because it wasn't like the traditional, like the yellow arches. It was like, it looked like it was a part of the zoo. So like everything was very rustic. Like this fence here and this picture, like this similar wood was like inside of the McDonald's. It was just really neat. It reminded me kind of how Animal Kingdom in Disney World has their restaurants set up. You know, that's how that McDonald's reminded me of. But anyways, so this layout's done, and I guess this video is an hour and a half, so I guess that's long enough. But I thank you all for watching. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow for another video or not. It just depends on with things I have going on. We're not going anywhere, but I still, there are things that need to get done around here. So, it would be nice if I could take the time to do that, because it really does, like, my spirits are better since I created this layout and since I like got a chance to talk to you guys, just because it helps to like get some of these feelings out, if that makes sense. Not that you guys are my therapist and I'm like in a therapy session, because I'm not, but in a way that like it helps to get like some of this talking out. I guess that's why I do talk a lot about things that are personal to me, and then like sometimes afterwards I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta delete this. And then I end up deleting the video, and I don't regret deleting videos, because they served a purpose. They served a purpose of, it's kind of like if you're gonna journal in a journal and you write it all down and you crumple it all up and you throw it away, kind of thing. I guess this is the same way. It's how I work through things. I may not be everybody's cup of tea. People may not be interested in my life, and and that's that's fine. I personally am interested in what people think. I know that I've been watching this one YouTuber lately, and it's just so fascinating listening to people, what she does. I can't even think of what her name is right now, but I can link it in the description box below if you're interested in watching her. She sets up this microphone in like a park, and she'll ask people to like not show their face, just like the back to the camera, and like tell their deepest, darkest secret, or tell the saddest thing that they've ever encountered, or tell like the meanest thing that they've ever said to someone. And she'll ask them, like, that's their prompt, and then they go up to the microphone and they tell this with their back to you, so you don't see their face. And they have the option of turning around and showing their face if they want, but many people don't. They just walk off and their face is never shown. But that just is so fascinating to me, because it just shows how real people are, and how everyone has stuff. I mean, everyone has baggage inside them that they are holding on to, and that they need to get out. And like, I just think it's the coolest thing, and it's fascinating to listen to like people's stories and like what they've been through. And maybe that's just because I'm a memory keeper, and I'm a collector of memories. So, and I think that that's part of the reason why I have such good memory and I remember things so vividly, is because that's how my mind works. But yeah, it's a really neat channel. All of her videos are like that. And and they're rather short. They're not long videos like this. But, yeah, it's just fascinating for me to listen to other people's stories, and you realize that you're not the only one out there that's dealing with stuff, and like some people have really, really dealt with some really horrible, tragic things, and not that what I have faced in my life hasn't been tragic, or what, the people around me have faced in their life hasn't been tragic, but it just is very human. And I don't know. It's just something I enjoy, and maybe you'll enjoy watching it too. But yeah, so I'll end this video now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.